Hi, hello guys. This is Vijay, biology lecturer from Aliba Junior College. Now, let us start chapter 2, the most important diagram based questions. So, in chapter 2, we are going to discuss three important diagram. In that first, we are going to discuss about block diagram of breathing. Okay. So, breathing is nothing but what? The inspiration and expiration. Okay. Right. So, this block diagram, we have to show that the important processes which are involving in the entire diagram. Okay, so first breathing. So breathing is nothing but what? Inspiration or expiration, and that leads to what? Gaseous exchange takes place at the lungs level. From the lungs it is passing to the human blood level. From the blood it is passing to the tissue level. From the tissue it is passing to the cellular level. So it's a very simple diagram. We have to show that the entire processes in a block diagram. Okay, so this is also one of the most important diagram. Just we have to draw like boxes for each and every processes. So it's a very simple diagram. Okay, mitochondria. Okay, so in chapter 1 we discussed about the structure of chloroplast. So just this mitochondria structure also almost very close to the structure of the chloroplast. Okay, so it is very simple to draw the diagram. First you make one oval shape diagram. Okay, and then you make it double layer, and inside of this double layer just you make it finger like appearance and erase that rest of the part, so that you will get such a structure. And inside same like the chloroplast, just put it some small dots and large size dots, and here one or two these finger like structures you make it some more detailed decoration. Okay, so that's all. It's a very simple diagram. Okay, now we are going to mention the labeling, and I already said instead of drawing diagram, the most important thing is to learn the labeling. So that is very important. So labeling of the diagram, that is the most important thing, and you will get the marks from the labeling as well. So now we are going to label this diagram, this mitochondria diagram. As I said already, the diagram should be either one side. I mean, if it is left side, the labeling should be mentioned on the right side. Okay, so here also I have made somewhat the diagram towards this left side. Now we are going to mention the labeling. Let us see what are the most important labelings are there. Very simple thing is that the labeling should be remembered first. It is very easy to remember one of the label here, that is the membrane. Okay, so here we can able to see there are two membranes are present. One is the outer membrane, the other one is the inner membrane. So two membranes are there. So we could mention like outer membrane and inner membrane. So two membranes. So if you remember membrane, that is very easy. Outer membrane and inner membrane, two important labelings are done. Now we are going to draw some more detail. We are going to label some more detail. Okay, right. So this outer membrane is done and the inner membrane is done, and inside there are a large empty space. Here you can able to see the small dots are there. That is what the large empty space. Same like the chloroplast. There we discussed stroma. Okay, so here we are going to discuss like cytoplasmic matrix. So this particular the empty space in the mitochondria, that is called matrix. Okay, matrix, it's like a cytoplasmic substance like matrix. We could mention that. Okay, so three labelings are done. Now the finger like structures are there inside. We could able to see the finger like structures are there. These finger like structures are to be called as, that is called cristae. That is called cristae. Okay, so four labelings are done. Okay, outer membrane, inner membrane, and the finger like structure, that is called cristae, and rest of the part in the finger like structure, that is called matrix. So very simple to mention the labeling. And here we could able to see some dark stained body like this, here black color, here. So this black color, dark stained structure that is called granule. That is called granule, lipid granule or starch granule. We could able to mention. Just you just mentioned that it is a granule. Okay, so that is one of the labeling we are going to added to the other rest of the labeling. And these large size of the stained bodies are called granule. Similarly, the small size stains are there like this, here you would able to see wherever it is. I mean, it is not particularly present in one place, it is present in the entire matrix. So this small granule like structure is there, and that is called ribosome or ribosome, whatever you can pronounce it, no problem. So ribosome or ribosome. So till now 6 labelings done: outer membrane, inner membrane, matrix, cristae, granule and ribosome. Okay, other than that we would able to mention some like this type of structure, and this structure is called DNA. Okay, so these are the different labelings done in mitochondria, right? Suppose if you look at this structure, just leaving off all this entire labeling, just look into this structure. The structure looks like the sole of the foot, the shoe or the slipper, the base of the shoe or the slipper, how it looks, such a design it is looking like. So it is also called as, the mitochondria is also called as sole of foot. Okay, so that is one of the additional name for mitochondria. And also mitochondria involving for respiration, that is a main reason it is also called as the powerhouse of the cell. So for any cell it is considered to be the powerhouse of the cell. Why it is called as powerhouse of the cell? Because it is releasing energy for the retaining or to proceed further life activities or the life processes, and to give energy to the cell. So powerhouse of the cell, it is also called sole of the foot. Okay, so these are the labelings. Now let us see how to remember the labelings for this mitochondria. Very simple. 2 labelings kept in your mind: membrane, outer membrane, inner membrane. Very simple. Then think about the entire structure. In that, finger-like structure is there. That finger-like structure is called cristae. And there is an empty space, a large empty space like cytoplasm, that is called matrix. So 4 labelings are done. And there are in the matrix some large stained bodies are there and small stained bodies are there. The large stained bodies are called granule and the small stained bodies are called ribosome. Done. If it is possible, you can add some extra structure like this, that is called DNA. So very simple to draw this diagram. Now let us go for the next diagram. Yes. So next diagram is about a block diagram. So it is also one of the a frequent question we could able to expect. This block diagram is this block diagram is nothing but the movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of the respiratory system. Okay, how the movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide done in and out in the human respiratory system, that we are going to draw with a block diagram. So let us see how to draw this diagram. Very simple diagram and it may be expected question. Okay, so now let us see the block diagram of movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of the respiratory system. How the oxygen is coming inside of our body and how the carbon dioxide is going to outside of our body. Let us see. Okay, now this is a simple flow chart or it's a simple block diagram to show the in and out of the oxygen and carbon dioxide gaseous exchange. Okay, now let us see. First, oxygen which is present in the atmosphere outside of our body, it is entering to the nose through the nostrils. We have a pair of nostrils. Through the nostril the gas is entering. Okay, Now what happened? This gas is going to the nasal cavity inside of our nose, and that leads to the pharynx, and the pharynx leads to the trachea, which is also called the windpipe. It is going to the windpipe, and there we have bronchi, like two branches are there, and these two branches can be seen in the lung structure, human lung structure, that is called a bronchi, and the bronchi that leads to further small branches of structure that is called branchiole. At the end of this branchiole, we could able to see the minute small air sacs, the minute small air sacs, which is also called as the structural and functional unit of respiratory system, that is called alveoli. And inside of this alveoli, what happened? Whatever the gas came into our nose, through the nose, it is come over to the lungs, it is inside of this alveoli, it is getting to be exchanging, undergoing for gaseous exchange, and where this oxygen and gas CO2 that is getting to be exchanged, there is a long process. It is not a very simple process. The oxygen immediately it is coming inside, and the carbon dioxide will not comes out. The carbon dioxide should be liberated. Okay, as soon as the oxygen is separated, the CO2 which is liberated, and that is happening in the alveoli, and from the alveoli this CO2 is reaching to where, again coming back near reverse direction, branchiole, and through the branchiole it is reaching to the bronchi there, and here you can able to see. So it is like a reverse process, and from the bronchi it is coming to where, trachea, and from the trachea it is coming to the pharynx, from the pharynx it is coming to the nasal cavity, and from the nasal cavity through the nose it is coming outside. The CO2 is coming outside to the atmosphere. So this is one of the expected block diagram of movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of the respiratory system. Okay, so it is also one of the most expected question. Now let us discuss about the next diagram from chapter 2. Yes, so now we are going to discuss about the most important diagram from chapter 2, that is human lungs. Okay, so it is one of the major respiratory organ which is involving for the exchanging of gas, breathing, inhalation, exhalation. It's a long process. It is involving for respiration. Okay, so these structure based questions you may expect. So this diagram we are going to discuss now. It is just follow me how to draw the human lungs. So it is very simple. First draw the nostril, okay, then this is mouth, okay. So from the nostril we are going to make one elongated path, okay, and this path which is also connected to the mouth, okay. Yes, now this elongated path which is coming downwards in a erect position like this, and there we could able to see one thick like a large square shaped structure. We will discuss all the structures later. So after this structure, it is further moving downwards in an elongated tube like structure, and it is further divided into two branches like these, two branches, okay. And these branches is further divided to many more small branches like this. So like this, many more further branches are there. So before going to draw this, the branches, as soon as the two branches, when you did drawing, immediately you draw a triangle shape elongated structure from both right and left side like this. It's a triangle shape, okay. Similarly in the other side as well. So like this you have to draw an elongated structure so that it is very easy to know the boundary of the layer, and we can able to draw the further branch like structures, okay, like this. So it's like a small branch like structure. So it's a very simple diagram, okay. So it is a very simple diagram, okay, like this. Now this particular area you just draw with some like stripes like this, so that to show that somewhat it is having some ring like structures, okay. It is twined from both the sides, and you make one more layer for this entire triangle shape on both the lung. Okay, so like this we should draw the structure. Yes, so it is very simple diagram. Now let us label the human lungs. Okay, what are the different the labelings are there. So wherever it is ending the small branches, you make it a small pouch like structure like this. So that shows that the structural and functional unit of alveoli, okay, respiratory system. Right, now let us label the parts. As I said, a diagram as soon as whenever you are drawing a diagram, the diagram should be on one side, the other side the labeling should be. Okay, so now here we have space for writing the labeling. Now let us write the labeling. So when you are going to write the labeling, it is very important thing that you must remember the labeling. So whenever two labeling which are similar, that is very easy to remember. So I will tell you very simple. Here we could able to see two lung, two parts are there. So just mention that right lung and left lung. So two labeling you have got, right? So left and right lung, left lung, right lung. So two labelings are done. And next, let us start from the nasal cavity. Okay, from the top. Okay, so when you are going to label the human lung, this part, especially from the face, this mouth, from here to this structure is there, you can able to see a box like structure. Until here it is called as the upper respiratory tract or upper respiratory system, you can write. And rest of the part from here to till where the lung is going to ending. So this is said to be lower respiratory tract or lower respiratory system, you can able to mention. So very simple, two lungs are there, right side and left side, easy to remember. Upper and lower, easy to remember. Four labelings are done: upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract. Now nose, that is very simple. Yes, nose, and in the nose it is followed by a large cavity like structure. That is what the large cavity, that is called nasal cavity. Okay, but we are going to draw human lungs, so it is not required for mentioning buccal cavity. If it is possible, mention, or not required. And from the nose directly the nasal cavity, it is not passed through, because there is a hole here. That hole is called nostril. We have a pair of holes, right side and left side. These holes, it is called as nostril, and this is nose and nasal cavity. Okay, now this box like structure is there here. It is very important. It is called larynx. This is called larynx, and the larynx is followed by an erect straight tube like structure. This tube like structure is called the trachea. Trachea, suppose you are unable to mention this name or the spelling, very simple, you can mention as windpipe. In the first chapter we discussed about the food pipe, okay, esophagus, and this is trachea, that is called windpipe. Very easy to remember. Okay, suppose trachea, if you are unable to pronounce or if you are unable to write, just you can write windpipe also, you will get mark, no problem. So windpipe. Then this is the structure of the human lung, and the human lung, you can able to see here one layer is there outside. If you want, you can write this layer pleura. Okay, pleura. So this is what the outer layer of the human lung, that is very simple. Okay, and next this I said trachea, and the trachea is further divided into two branch like structure, and these branch like structures are called bronchi. This is called bronchi. the branch like structures, they are called bronchi. And inside here we can able to see many more small branches, and these branches are called bronchioles. And here the end of the every branch is small round shape structure is there. That is a very important structure, and that structure is called alveoli. So this is the human lung structure, and followed by below this human lung structure there is one small layer of muscle. This small muscle layer is called diaphragm, right? So this is the entire labelings of human lungs. Now how to remember the labelings? Very simple. Minimum 6 labelings must be done, and the 6 labelings are most important labeling must be done. Okay, right. First, lungs. There are 2 lungs are there, right lung and left lung. 2 labelings are there, done. Next, the entire diagram you see, until this larynx, it is called as the upper respiratory system, and below that they are also called as the lower respiratory system. 4 labelings done. Next, nose. Very simple, we can draw from here. Yes, fifth one done. Nose is there. Nose has a small hole like structure, that is called nostril. 6th, and there is inside a cavity called nasal cavity. Nose, nostril, nasal cavity. Here only you will get 3 labelings. Then this box like structure is there, very important, larynx, and the larynx is followed by the windpipe, an erect windpipe. It is a very important labeling. Windpipe, the most important one. Alveoli, the most important one. Okay, windpipe further divided into 2 branches, they are called bronchi, and bronchi is further divided into many small branches called bronchiole, and inside of this bronchiole small dot sac like structure is there, that is called alveoli. So by this way we can mention the labeling. And apart from this, the entire lung, just below there is one small layer is there, muscle layer, that is called diaphragm. Diaphragm is very important to mention, because the diaphragm is helping for the movement of respiration during lungs. Okay, the movement of lungs during respiration, that is very important. And this trachea, here we could able to see some like ring like structure, and these ring like structures are also called as cartilaginous ring. Okay, it is also called as C shape. It is looking like a C shape. Okay, C shape cartilaginous ring, like that also we can able to say. So this is about human lungs. Until then, thank you guys.